Assassin's Creed, the ongoing story of two warring ideologies, each with their own designs upon the world. Their war, shrouded in myths and legends of old times, of relics of ancient power once held by a godlike race, those who came before. Their conflict spanning all the way from humanity's earliest days, trials, tribulations and triumphs, and up to the present. Assassin's Creed is one of the most loved franchises in gaming, and it is one of my favorites, and so in this video I am going to be talking about the most recent installment to the franchise, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Specifically how the multiple choice mechanic and the ability to alter the story, thus creating an unneeded mess of different variations, is objectively wrong in accordance to Assassin's Creed lore, and is not truly needed for this franchise especially. Also, I'll address the official novelization for the game and how it compares, which in my opinion is written far better. I do understand that the narrative in the book was the same as in the game, but for a majority of key scenes that were in the game, they were vastly different in the book and are actually better than what the game offered. Finally, anything else I have deemed relevant to this topic I will also talk about. If you enjoy Assassin's Creed, then I, Solemn, welcome you to join me as we discuss it here and now. This video is split in 4 sections. Section 1 is regarding the multiple choice mechanic. Section 2 is regarding Odyssey's unused title. Section 3 is regarding the book. Section 4 is my conclusion. Forgive any poor pronunciation of Greek words, etc. Section 1. The multiple choice mechanic. First, let me clear the air and say that an RPG and open narrative aspect to a game is great. The Walking Dead, Skyrim, and Batman being notable examples of its success. However, Assassin's Creed is an entirely different beast, and for good reason. In Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the ability to manipulate the story, have multiple outcomes, relationships, and endings does not work. And to understand why it does not work, you must understand the lore of Assassin's Creed. Since the first game and onwards, it has been made clear that when a subject uses the Animus, they relive the genetic memories of either their ancestor or someone else's. Since the subject relives the memories, they cannot change the memory outcomes because the ancestor made their choices in the past, and the Animus is not a time machine. It is only a tool to view the past. Therefore, in history, something happened one way and for one ultimate reason, and there is nothing that can be done to the Animus or the genetic memory itself to alter what happened. Furthermore, what happened in the past was recorded in one instance, and that was that individual recorded moment after it happened, as in it no longer existed after the moment it happened. So there is no way to alter what actually occurred.
What is a memory, Mr. Miles?
It's the recollection of a past event.
Specific to the individual remembering the event.
Yeah, sure.
What if I told you that the human body not only housed an individual's memory, but the memories of his ancestors as well? Genetic memory, if you will.
In Odyssey, apparently 2 sets of DNA are found on the spear of Leonidas, Alexios and Cassandra, and you can choose who to play as for the story, yet in canon they both have different stories. Cassandra is a mercenary and Alexios is working for the cult of Cosmos. So how can I experience a single story via 2 different sets of DNA, where in canon, Cassandra and Alexios experience different lives altogether despite sharing the same bloodline? It's not logical, it's a fool's errand. Now consider Odyssey. It just doesn't work, does it? Having the multiple outcomes and endings, etc. is absurd, and not just because it doesn't fit into the lore of the franchise, but also because it's an insult to the players whom at this point in the lifespan of Assassin's Creed are well acquainted with how the franchise truly works in terms of genetic memory and the Animus. The reason it is an insult is because I believe that by having multiple endings and such, you deny the player of a clear and solid story. I mean, Assassin's Creed has proven time and again how it does not need multiple choice features to tell a good story. Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2, and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood to name a few. Let's say that the multiple choice feature is completely justified and has a place within the lore. There is still a problem: the multiple choice options themselves. I found myself at various points in the game where the options available to me during a conversation were not what I would have done, and so it was difficult to choose one because I was conflicted with them. I mean, wasn't it supposed to be the ancestor who made the critical decisions in the past? Furthermore, it is an impossibility to have an option for every type of person because Ubisoft cannot account for every type of person's way of thinking. For example, I felt that missions with Socrates showcased the folly of the multiple choice option the most, simply because when it came to his philosophical questions and such, Ubisoft treated it very black and white, as in the available choices they set up were the only possible ones. But I found myself considering other relevant factors that would have influenced discussion, but I felt restricted because there was no option to bring them into the discussions with Socrates. Life is not black and white. There is always more to something than meets the eye. Nothing is ever as it seems. It's ironic. Ubisoft implemented the multiple choice feature to give the player more freedom. Yet I felt the most restricted I have ever been on an Assassin's Creed game when I played Odyssey. In all truth, Assassin's Creed doesn't need a feature that allows you to alter the past and have multiple outcomes, relationships, endings, etc. It is better to have a solid and significant story and narrative, with every moment and decision that occurs finalized, and to also have a well-developed main character to which the story is viewed through. In canon, Cassandra is the main character, and Alexios is Deimos, and thus it should be that way in the game. There is no need to switch roles, especially when you have a book that tells a unique story that focuses primarily on one perspective and is justified in doing so: Cassandra's. Break the law that makes the game what it is, then you effectively damn the game and what it stands for. But adhere to the law, then all will be well and make sense.